Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Community. Maria and I here. Hi Maria.
Hi.
Maria was actually just razzing me about the fact that I start every episode with hi, and I tell everyone I'm so excited because I'm always so excited.
You're always so excited.
But we just realized we're past. Maria and I have best times of day to work. Mine is the morning. Hers is in the afternoon, evening, and there's this like switch off point. It's like
There's a small overlap.
it's 10 to 3 and it's 3:34, so I'm fading to the good Lord. Maria's on
I'm thriving, guys. I'm ready. I'm ready to party.
So we're so excited because this is actually a topic that has been requested. And you know, what's funny is I actually like kind of soft launched this in an episode. And I said like, hey, like, I don't know if any of you guys would ever be interested in an episode where Maria and I talk about how much we spend on high vibe women. Like how much does an event cost without it being too like egregious of us being like, we pay this person this much or whatever. Let us know if you'd be into that. And we actually got comments on Spotify being like, hey, if you're willing to do that, like, we'd love that. So super fun.
Yeah, I love that. The Spotify comment thing, that was a change.
I know. There's always new things coming. Now Apple Podcasts, you can do video.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, just, oh my.
Wow.
So many things going on. But it's important because, you know, when we got started with our events, like, we have a previous event background, like before where we ran events, type B event, small things. And we're both pretty type B, but we kind of had this vision for High Vibe Women of putting on a larger event. And we did the best we kind of could, but we learned so many lessons. And we had really humble beginnings with our event. Like our first venue, I think, cost like $5,000 to rent. And the food was like $4,000, you know? And then now we're like way on the other side of that. And our event costs grow every single time. And so I think it's really helpful because we'll be able to help people make like less mistakes. But also like now we're paying more than 6 figures most times for our events. And so kind of breaking down like what to budget for, what to think of, because there's a few things people don't really think about.
Yeah, I think it's important to like don't compare if you're like, I'm going to start my first event tomorrow. Don't compare your chapter 1 to our chapter 50, right? Like we've been doing this a few years now. Like Kristina said, it's gotten bigger and bigger every time. And what we're investing now is definitely not what we invested. Our first event, I think, was like not free, but like close, like a few $100, close to free.
Yeah.
Our first like small networking lunch. We got the venue for free. We basically just paid for food. It was like a really small gathering, and now we're running these huge like 200-person events and like doing the most, right? So I think this will be cool because we can show people like what really goes into these big events and why we're like so passionate about them, why we talk so much about them, why the ticket cost is what it is. I think it'll paint a better picture for that. But if you're just getting started for events, also know that this is us 3 years in.
Yeah, I actually remember Marina pre-Create and Cultivate ran an event, like probably like right before she bought Create and Cultivator before the blueprint. And there were like all these balloon arches and all this stuff. And I remember messaging her being like, oh my God, Marina, like this is incredible. Like this balloon arch, like whatever. And now like one of our events would like probably never have a balloon arch. Like they're building real arches. and it was funny because then one of our events had a balloon arch and she's like, you can never say to me again anything with the balloon arches because now you're here too. And so it's like, I never ever like I've had people be like, oh my God, it's so nice you go to like small events. I'm like, literally no qualms, love to see it, never judging. I'm just always so excited for people and like hopefully people can learn from our lessons.
Love it.
So we're going to go into a bunch of different categories and kind of talking about, you know, how much we, you know, have paid for things. Again, we're going to be a bit on the vaguer side. We're going to give you guys the deets. You'll have good detail, but we won't be like sharing any stats that would be kind of like proprietary. But first, let's talk about the venue rentals. So, you know, that would be like our Pearl, our Leona Station, Delta Guelph, you know, and that has ranged a ton over the years. So, like I said, like $5,000 to, you know, $20,000 has been kind of what we've paid, but you do have a bit of negotiating power depending on what it is that you do there. Like if you do food and bev. So we've actually had spaces where we haven't paid a room rental because we've like paid $50,000 in food. You know what I mean? So it's like we've been able to like play with that. But typically like our venue and all of that, like venue food, all of that, we're looking at between the VIP night and the regular night about $50,000 usually. Mm-hmm. Brutal.
It's
brutal. I'm about to get back in the kitchen and make some sandwiches.
We always, and it's so funny because at our very first VIP night, I was like, we got a quote for charcuterie. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm making the charcuterie for that price. And I like,
she did.
And I did. And I went to Costco and I bought all the meats and I made the charcuterie boards, and they were wonderful charcuterie boards.
Yeah,
but
she's so good at it.
at the end I was like, that's never happening again.
Well, I think that's actually just like a good sign of business too, right? It's like you have different seasons where you're down to do different things. We have a surprise coming for the people on the yacht, right? For our yacht mastermind day. And you and I were talking about it today. And I originally gave you a price and now it's higher. And you were like, that's crazy, like for that. Like, how are we paying that? And I was like, there's a $175 like delivery fee. And I absolutely am not driving to Brampton to pick that up. So well worth it for me. You know, like, but before we would have been like, get in the road. We leave at 5 a.m.
I would have been driving to Brampton for sure.
You know, so it's sometimes about your mental health. But yeah, I think the venue is something to keep in mind. I actually know somebody who runs really large events, never pays for a venue. That's part of her philosophy. We still do, because at the end of the day, these people still have to make money. But we try to be good partners, take lots of photos. And we're always in like a bit of a toss-up between, do we like keep the same venue all the time, or do we rotate? And those of you who've come to many High Vibe Women's, we'd love your perspective on like, do you love to go to different places? Because sometimes different venues call for different things. Like when you do a hotel, you have like really not a lot of flexibility with the food, and you can't do as many like cool things, but it's simple. Like, so at the Pearl, we were queens. Like we just like, we attended our own event. Like it was crazy. But at something more like an RBG or at a Luna Station, there's a little bit more detailed work going into it.
Yeah, sometimes it ends up being a little more DIY. So I think that's important to factor in when you're deciding how much to pay for a venue. Because like when we started and we paid $5,000 for a venue, we put in so much more work on our end to, you know, organize catering, organize food, like put all the manual pieces together ourselves. And so I think exactly what you said, like what stage of business are you at? Are you at the stage where you're doing all the grunt work, or are you at the stage where it's actually more valuable to pay for those things to be covered so that you don't have to worry about them? And there's a lot that goes into choosing a venue too. Like we put a lot of thought into this, and it's like location, parking, is there a hotel attached? What's the food situation? How much flexibility is there? Is there breakout rooms? And like sometimes you don't get all of the things, right? And sometimes you have to compromise on a few things. But I find when we do go on the higher end of paying for a venue, it's the times when we are like the compromising the least.
Yeah, 100%. We actually went and saw a venue recently that we loved. Like we loved the guy, we loved the venue.
Loved the guy.
But like there were no breakout rooms. It was gonna be like one massive space. And we were like, this actually allows for no flexibility whatsoever. So like let's put this in the noggin for something in the future, but it's not a High Vibe Women event. Like, or a High Vibe Women like full day experience. Catering and beverage, I would say most of the time that's actually where you have like the least amount of flexibility, especially with a venue. Typically you're looking at $100+ a person for like a full day of meals, and that's without the bougie stuff, right? Like that's like a breakfast, a lunch, maybe a Powerball somewhere in there, like a drink. You know, but if we typically spend way over $100 a person on a VIP night. But that's luck, so we want people to have like the best time ever, so that's really great. And we've been able to get around some of it, like with getting stack sponsors or paying for things at cost. We've done that where, you know, maybe there's a like an item we love. And so we definitely are happy to kind of pay for that.
I feel like we both come from European backgrounds. We lean on the overspending on the food.
Yeah.
We have been to many events where we have gone very hungry.
Yeah.
I was actually laughing with a friend of mine recently because we went to this event one time, and there was like a group of us, and we were meeting up with my one friend after who didn't go to the event, and she got to the restaurant before us, and she's like, oh, I just like ordered some apps for the tables. There were like 10 of us that came from this event. We swooped in like absolute vultures and like demolished these apps in seconds, and she was like, are you guys okay? Like what happened today? And we were like, there was no food. And so we just never want our events to feel like that, so we tend to err on the side of overfeeding people.
Yeah, which is like so funny because we even like, you know, we had an event one time that did underfeed people. Yes.
I can't remember. Oh, yeah.
Yes, even though we didn't promise food. We didn't promise that much food, but it was less food than we
anticipated.
Thought and we paid for at the time. And we were mortified. Like, actually, Maria came to my house for my birthday last week, and I was like, look, there's more food at this than there was at the VIP day. There's 7 of us there. So anyway, it's fine. We're all over it. But we try not to skim out on the food because that is something people really remember, right? Is like, I was hungry. I wasn't feeling well. Like, you know, that kind of stuff really, really bothers people. So it's good to kind of keep that in mind.
Well, I think it's even more important if you're doing an event that's like a full day.
Yeah.
If you have an event that's a couple hours and, you know, the food's minimal, I think that's totally okay to get away with, especially depending on the timing. But if you're locking people down for a full day, you got to give them food.
Yeah, absolutely.
And coffee.
Yeah, lots. And again, I'm just saying, like, you know, try to negotiate with people. Make sure dietary requests are, like, taken in. This is huge. We laugh because one time, and so sorry if you did this and, you know, you're listening to this podcast, but we one time sent out a thing being like, what are your dietary restrictions? And someone said, easy on the chickpeas. That's not what we mean. We're not looking for...
We're looking for allergies.
Yeah, we're not looking for feedback. But anyway, we just really care about this, and we know people care about it. So we've spent, like, you know, upwards $25,000 on food. You know, we've done open bars at our VIP nights or our cocktail hour. I actually don't have a woe on people paying for drinks. And I don't think anything when I pay for a drink. But because our tickets tend to be on the pricier side than other events, I would say locally, we really want to make sure people are taken care of.
Also, we should specify this is for like our big full day experiences that are like
200 people.
200 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and actually a big part of why I wanted to do this podcast too is because people have this like false perspective that we make a ton of money on these events. And I'm going to tell you, we really do not make as much money as you think. Like there's no Lambo coming from, or even a Honda Civic coming from me and Maria with this. So like our original like heart was for this. Like we just did it out of like goodness, and now we're like, okay, let's make some money on this, but we're actually not trying to make it off the ticket sales. So I think that's just an important thing for people to know, is that for us it's like so much of it's been about community, but we've had people be like, you make 6 figures on this event, and you'll be able to do the math on this very shortly. We spend 6 figures on everyone. There's not one. And even when we come across money, like where it's like, oh, we got like, you know, an unexpected sponsorship, which we did recently, immediately you and I were like, how do we put that back into the event? Like, is there something we can do that's more cool for the VIPs? Do we invest in this? Do we invest in that? Like, I'm always about to invest in something, you know, so just want to say that. The next is the AV, audiovisual and equipment rental.
This was a tough one for me to stomach. I think this was the toughest one for me to stomach of them all. Yeah,
because you just think it's like a little mic in a box. Maybe a man with the mic in the box? Maybe. This doesn't even include like videographer, like a photographer, none of that. I just want to say that. Just want to tell you that. Our sneakiest one was $15,000, which was like almost half of what we paid the venue. So that for food, 3 days, hotels, like it was crazy. So that was extremely annoying, but we're typically around the 10 to 12 mark. We've got a great partner we love now. The 15 one was brutal because the AV was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah. So that's hard to pay for.
Yeah. But this is essentially for like mics and screens.
Yeah.
And some men operating these mics and screens. Usually one.
Truly, we are in the wrong business. In the wrong business. The other stuff is event staff. This one is costly. And this is one people do not really think about. Also, you and I are highly understaffed. Like we have realized we're like Maria's mom's
we're doing the most.
Maria's mom's working at this event, dude. So like we're really gonna ramp that up for October, which we're excited about, leaning more on our team because we have, you know, all these employees and we don't make any of them work at this, which is crazy, other than Ben and Michaela. But you need lots of stuff, whether that be a setup and a teardown crew. Like our team spends a full 8-hour day stuffing swag bags. Like people do not understand how much work goes into those swag bags, not even from like a admin perspective of trying to get these items, from a like huge amount of, you know, stuffing, you know, we stuff.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of stuff.
And transporting these swag bags. Oh my God.
I know. Some of them went on the floor last time. They were white bags. We were like absolutely devastated, but I don't think any of you noticed, which was great. So we're now at the threshold of hiring people, but typically event staff, you know, we're talking about an event planner. We have an amazing event coordinator. Those of you planning events, it was a game changer.
Yeah.
We will share ours with you. We have our admin staff, Serena and now Sarah. Incredible. Like they manage all the surprise, all the delight. It's awesome. We now have a creative director. We've got Ben and Michaela who help us. We have our staff that help us day of. We've got, our photographer, Avalon, who typically does it as a sponsorship, which we're very blessed by, but we pay for our videography. So all of those things all together, I would say we're looking at about $20,000 per event.
Yeah.
Happily, though. There's nobody, even Helena, it's so funny, our event coordinator, she'll be like, I can give you a better breakdown of these hours. I'm like, I don't care. I know that you work these hours. It's so much work. So we're at the threshold of us trying to get to the next level, and going to a few events that are actually smaller than ours and seeing way more staff gave me a lot of permission of hey, we need more people there.
Yeah. We also have a pretty good crew the day of typically. Some volunteers, some of our social snippet team, and they're doing things like check-in, directing people to breakout rooms, managing breakout rooms. Yeah. We also have some people doing content and different things like that. But I find somebody was asking in our community for advice on event prep, and I'm like, the last week before the event is that's when you need all hands on deck, and
totally.
The night before, the day of, like you said, we have this every man that works for us, we're we need you at the storage unit at 6 a.m.
Any man who works for us or that we know, if you are a man that we know, even Mike Sferaza, our friend who his wife Jordy owns the Vine, which, you've seen activate at High Vibe Women many times. And I messaged him on the night of High Vibe Women, and I was like, really crazy. Any chance you're free to take down a wine wall? And he's like, I'm not, but I'll make it work. I'm like, okay, it's fine. But if you are a man and we know you, be free October 21st, 22nd. The next is decor and supplies. Sneaky.
Oh, another sneaky one.
That's a sneaky one. We actually are cheap. We are cheap women. So typically...
We're cheap.
You know what? It's actually just not a priority for us.
Yeah, we invest in other things.
Yes. We would rather have more staff or more little touches, little touches than be hi, here's a branded arch. That's just not for us. But...
not yet. We'll get to
not yet. There. Yeah, for sure. And those events are absolutely gorgeous, and I love seeing it. It's just that's not something you and I are oh my god, we need that. But when I go to Create and Cultivate, I'm enamored by how many things. I'm taking 100 pictures and being wow. But we rent our furniture, we do that even with the chill space. We rent our furniture. We do a backdrop typically. We actually own those pieces now, so we invested in that. Even little things like linen, table
florals.
Yes, florals are another one. You never know how much florals are going to be. If we want branding for an event, if we want our staff to do the decor, just so many pieces, even little things. A few years ago, we did High Vibe Women, napkins and stuff like that. Just things like that you're we really wanted branded pieces. Swag.
The lanyards.
Every year. If you guys know a lanyard person, we need a new lanyard person. It's always about to take us out. But, we're probably spending on average between $5,000 and $10,000 an event on it. But we do have some investment pieces that we've invested in, which have been worth it because we haven't had to do it more than once. But we also have a storage unit that we spend $2,000 a year on, right?
Yeah.
So that's been a huge piece.
Yeah.
Some other things. Marketing and promotion. So things like advertising. We don't do too many paid ads. To be honest, we'll boost a post every once in a while, but it's not necessary. Even right now, we're sitting at our event it's end of May. And as we record, and so our event's in a little less than 6 months, we have 50 tickets left. So probably won't be doing a ton of paid ads, to be honest.
But we hire the social snippet to do our marketing.
Yeah, we do hire the social snippet to do our marketing. We have one of our social media managers do it. So that looks great, but we pay her.
Yeah, we pay her. We practice what we preach, okay? We outsource our social.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's to our team.
We didn't at first, though. At first, we managed. You managed.
I was making the posts, and I was like, we can't go on like this. Please make it stop."
Little things even our admin staff, Serena is amazing, but she basically works for High Vibe Women part time, so it's huge. Promotions, and we make promotional materials. We also did a bunch of PR this year, which we hadn't done. So we did a press release. We've done a bunch of earned media, which has been cool. So all of that, costs money. But the fact we have an in-house team does make things a lot easier. We're looking at probably around $3,000 in terms of just the marketing spend per event. But honestly, it's going up as
It's
events
going,
grow.
yeah, it's going up. And if we didn't own a social media agency, I think that cost would be way higher.
100%.
It's very, very convenient for us that our first business happens to be a social media agency.
Other things are like swag, things like, sweaters or, hats and stuff like that we sell. But also we do buy our own bags, typically our notebooks, pens, like that kind of stuff. We'll usually do a social snippet item, which is a side, but so we are always kind of investing in swag. We work with different swag providers for that. So that can be pretty expensive as well. Like you'd be surprised, like notebooks and like bags, like just those 2 items alone, we're looking at $5,000, right? So it can go pretty fast. And then even like unexpected expenses come up, right? Our U-Hauls, like we're like always doing something breaks last minute. We're always trying to up level our events. So like this year we bought a charging station, like different things like that. That was my hyperfixation. But that thing's been sponsored twice. So the ROI on that charging station.
I'm going to give you the W on the charging station.
What do you give me the L on?
The 360 photo booth.
We used it 3 times.
I know, but...
And we rented it.
Did we rent it?
Yeah, twice.
Did people pay?
Paid.
All right.
I'm ready to
I'm not going to say bad investment. I'm just not big W. Not like, wow, life-changing.
We're going to use it one more time, and if anybody wants to buy it off of us after that, we're available. And then things like event insurance, right? So we spend, a few $100s every time on event insurance. So, yeah, I think that's kind of it. Anything else that comes to mind of stuff that we buy?
Spray tans. I'm just kidding.
Well, hotels, actually, for us, I have 2 hotels. For us, our team, we typically will do, like, if we have a speaker coming from out of town, that's a keynote speaker or something, we would typically maybe cover something. So that's been pretty significant, like a few $1,000s, like probably 3 or 4, depending on the hotel. Sometimes cheaper. And then sometimes we do pay speaking fees. So it depends on the speaker. This one's a huge, like, question mark. I almost didn't say it because I don't want to get into it with people, but it's like if someone's a keynote speaker by trade, like they don't have an offer, Maria and I typically are happy to pay something to them. And then we also do a charitable donation as well, usually in some capacity.
And then the big thing we're not factoring in here is our time.
Oh, yeah, that's the biggest one, dude.
We grind. We out here grinding, baby.
We grind. We laugh.
We cry.
We weep. And then
we grow gray hairs.
And then we're like so happy, like at the event, it's like our like wedding. And then we go home and we're like, how do we do it again? So
our time and our family's time. Yeah. Like we joked about like my mom stuffing swag bags, which it wasn't a joke. Like, my friends were like, want to hang out? And I'm like, you want to come over and pack 50 swag bags for my next event? And they're like, yeah, can I get a chocolate bar? We were laughing because I almost gave away all our Smart Sweets for the 8 and giveaway. For the next event. But like all the swag's getting shipped to Kristina's house, and then Josh is bringing it over to the storage unit, and like, we're constantly working on all this stuff. So if we had hired people to do all of those things, there'd be a significant additional cost to that as well.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so how to budget for a 200-person event. So a few tips. So create a realistic event budget. So research your costs early and get multiple quotes, and don't be afraid to negotiate. So actually, like right from the beginning.
Big lesson.
This has been something, because Maria and I are, it costs what it costs, girls. We're like, this is what you've given me, and we will pay. And as I've grown over these last 5 years, I realized that nobody's paying regular prices on things, and they're asking for discounts. There's times... there's times for that, and then there's not times for that, So I will say, actually negotiating. So, like, there was one time I literally asked somebody, I'm like, could this be cheaper? And they were like, yeah, actually. And
that's like usually the response we get.
Yeah.
I mean, I think something we do well is we typically try to offer value back, and we try to make that incorporated in something we're already doing. So like if we already have somebody coming to do photography, could we offer that photography, for example, back to the venue for a discount and adding value to them some way? But a lot of the times when we ask like if something could be cheaper, the answer is yes.
Yeah, like even for our yacht, right? Like I already got a discount on the yacht, and I went and I was like, this is a little more than I was thinking. We have a photographer and videographer. Your social looks like it could use a little like spruce up, open. And they were like, yeah, no problem. And I was like, and I'm happy to pay in full. So sometimes you can play with payment terms too, right? So even for the Pearl that we have our event coming up in March, you guys can put in your calendar. Yeah, can I say the dates?
Yeah.
24th, 25th at the Pearl.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, truly heard it here first. But, for our event at the Pearl, they sent us an original kind of invoice, and it actually was a really significant amount of money when we still have another event ahead of us. So like, I don't want to be on the hook for two $50,000 bills at the same time. So I basically told the woman, I was like, I'm wondering if I can put down a small deposit, like kind of this month, another one in August, which I've already made that payment. And I'm wondering if like you would feel comfortable with that. And I was really, and then I was like, and then actually on October 30th, I'd love to make a massive payment for you. And you'll be further ahead than you were in your original thing. Done, right? So you can play around with stuff. Sometimes that's actually more valuable to people cash flow wise too, is like, and I love to pay things early, as you know. So like if we have a vendor we're working with, I'm like, send me the bill, it'll get done. I'd love to pay you like within, the next 2 weeks. And sometimes that gives you a bit more negotiating power too. Making sure you track your expenses. This is something we haven't always been good at. Because even thinking about things like printing, like, we'll just randomly send things to Vistaprint. We were laughing the other day because Maria's like, why did you spend $600 on cups? It's like, we live, we learn. But yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's 1,000.
But like just, tracking those expenses can be really like helpful for you to see a really full picture of what you're spending, what it looks like. Allowing room for unexpected costs. I have seen people run events and they be like so stressed about making money. We've never done that. It does help that we sell a second event from the first event because we know we're going to get a bit of a windfall on the other side. Hopefully people continue to buy tickets, which God bless you folks. But just like allowing room for that. And just really setting your priorities and, trying to figure out what's essential and what's a luxury.
Yeah.
We're getting more into luxury territory than we were before, and we price it that way on purpose because we running an event is not cheap, right? But it's also, we want to really surprise and delight people and have a great time doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's important when you're thinking about pricing to ensure that the price reflects what's being delivered in the event. And also don't get too ahead of yourself, right? Like don't go from 0 to 200.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe ease your way in a little bit, see what your audience likes, see what they're willing to pay, test out a few smaller events, kind of get feedback from people, do market research. But if you are going to be like spending all kinds of money to make things feel really luxurious and invest in a really luxurious venue and do all of that stuff, then your pricing should reflect that.
Yeah, totally.
Whereas if you're going to do something like smaller, maybe a little bit more bare bones, maybe there's no meal included, then your pricing should also reflect that too. So when you're thinking of your budget for the event, I would maybe almost work backwards, where think of like first your ideal audience, what they want to pay, that type of thing, and then you can design your budget around that.
Yeah, I love that. Well, even for us with the yacht, right? Like when we put that out there, it was a brainchild of mine. I was like, Maria, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get over 10 people to buy this. But I can't charge less than $1,000 a person because I really want to attract someone who'd pay that.
Yeah.
And I already had a few yeses. So that's always like, guys, with events, that's huge. Get a few yeses before you book a venue. Have a few people who are going to be in your corner. So I had a few yeses. So I knew we'd have some people in there. And then when I realized like, oh my gosh, actually like we ended up selling like 21, which was crazy. Our first thing was, okay, this is actually more profitable than we expected. How can we make this better for the women? Like, how can we make this cooler and more fun, right? But we weren't like, okay, like, how are we going to spend $20,000? Originally, we were like, okay, how can we make this, like, just so good, right? So really just figure out, like, who you're trying to attract into whatever experience you're doing and what you want to spend on that.
Yeah, and then if you're, like, trying to attract a luxury person, then you want the experience to reflect that. So therefore, your ticket price needs to reflect that so that you can actually make it a luxurious experience.
Yeah.
We couldn't like be like, oh, the yacht's $200 and then here's your Ritz crackers once you get on board. Like it just doesn't work that way.
There will be crackers, but they won't be Ritz. No, they will not.
And a few other items to go with the crackers.
A few other items. Yeah, so anyway, guys, this is kind of what an event costs. And, they can be smaller, they can be bigger. We like a 15% kind of profit, but we've had more, we've had less, right? And so, give it a shot, see what kind of comes up. It's easier to sell an event once you've done a first one. That's a huge one too, guys. Like I tell people, I'm like, fill a room one time. And then it becomes easier and easier. Which speaking of, guys, join us October 22nd at the Leona Station. VIP tickets are more than sold out. Couldn't make one if we tried. But GA, we'd love to see you there and keep your eyes out for March. But we've got some stuff up our sleeve.
Quite a few things up our sleeve. Stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram at highvibe.women.
Woo, so fun. Thanks, Mark.
Bye.